So did you know that the Bone Gunner's ability deals 0 damage? Welcome to the 4th installment of my Troop Guides series, where I break down each troop individually and give you practical tips on how to get the most out of them. Let's get started. First up is the Ursa Champion. For a ranged unit, he has very good health. His basic attack damage is average. This is offset by his normal attack dealing area damage, and that carries over to his ability, making him multi-targeting, flash damaging, crowd controlling through stun. 3 target within his radius will be hit with a stake. Each stake creates a small splash effect when they land, stunning all nearby enemies around the primary target. In Arena, being able to stun multiple opponents at once is extremely valuable and can swing fights in your favor. In Summon Duels, he's especially effective against Poison Masters. The only mode where he falls short is Hunt mode. While he isn't the most used legendary, and you won't see him topping every meta tier list, I consider him one of the most well-rounded troops in the game. Reliable, versatile, and useful in a wide variety of situations. Next up is the Ninja Assassin. For most players, this will be your first legendary troop. In Arena, if you have a few copies at level 5 or 6, he does a great job clearing groups of forest scouts and other low health units. Because early on, low level players are limited to deploy multi-units that have low health, this is where he is very effective. Because his ability targets the closest archer class units, you need to be careful where you place him. Otherwise, his ability will hit targets in locations that are not top priority. As you move into higher level plays, things change. You'll start facing tougher single unit troops, like Seekers, Bone Gunners, that can easily bait him away from priority targets. Once that happens, his effectiveness drops dramatically. For Hunt mode and Infinity War, he can serve as temporary attackers or frontline units while you're still building your roster. For long term, you'll eventually replace him. Sakura Ronin. For most players, this will be your first legendary tank. Because of his area damage ability and high health, new players can use him as a flanker or stabber to pressure weak enemy troops and distract. This works particularly well alongside Frost Skeletons, Bombers, and Frost Queens. Unfortunately, he gets outclassed fairly quick. Once your Goblin Chef reaches level 8, the Chef already surpasses the Ronin in both health and attack damage. Similar to the Ninja Assassin, the Ronin is a good early tank for Hunt and Infinity mode when you're still developing your roster. Bone Gunner is one of the highest damage dealing legendary character. He already has an incredible base damage, and on top of that, his ability deals 120% area damage, letting him hit multiple enemies at once. Put those two together, and you have an incredibly strong DPS unit. There is a drawback. What I mentioned earlier about Bone Gunner's ability dealing no damage is unless there is a unit on the battlefield with an attack speed below 0.7, Bone Gunner will literally fire blanks. That means every 6 attack deals no damage, which is a significant loss to his overall DPS. Of course, there are several ways to reduce attack speed in this game. Frost Skeleton and Bone Warlock are 2 examples. A massive base attack and 120% area of effectability, the Bone Gunner excels at clearing groups of enemies while also dealing valuable chip damage to high health units. Great for Arena and Infinity War. If you're building around sustained damage, the Bone Gunner and the Bone Warlock are one of the strongest combinations you can run. The Wind Apostle has lower than average attack and health, but her ability makes up for it. Her pull effect can momentarily stop enemy troops from advancing, giving your ranged units a few extra attacks, gather enemies into area damage like Poison Master's Toxic Field, or group enemies together for arena fireballs. For new players, she's a solid answer against large groups of enemies. However, as your account progresses, she's eventually replaced by the mythic Tide Lord, who performs the same role much more effectively. Next up is the Iron Bulwark, another tank class legendary with the exact same health and stat as the Ronin. His normal attack damage is low, but that's actually balanced by a hidden advantage. As you'll notice, his basic attack deals splash damage, something only a handful of troops can do. His ability, Suppression Chain, is especially effective against enemy support units with an attack speed of 0.8, such as the Oracle. So as I'm recording this, season buff is giving all units plus 1% speed, so I had to use skeletons to bring the Oracle's speed back down to 0.8. When the Bulwark dies, he'll trigger his ability, applying a massive 50% slow to that support unit and nearby enemies. There is a catch, however. If there is no qualifying support unit on the battlefield, his ability activates, but no area of effect or slow happens. Also, his ability hits the closest support unit to him, regardless of speed, so placement is crucial. Like the Bone Gunner, he pairs extremely well with other slow effect troops, like the Bone Warlock and Frost Skeleton. In Arena, you can place him on the front line as a tank, or because his normal attack deals area damage, you can send him in as a flanker or stabber before his ability applies. In Infinity War, you're in Sword of Breach, where it's filled with weak swordsmen, he can deal more damage compared to other tanks like the Ronin or Pumpkin Guard. He is also a solid choice in Summon Duels. The Windlord. The Windlord is another legendary with very high damage. Her ability deals massive single target damage while reducing the target's wind resistance. Outside of a hunt mode, she doesn't see much use, but against bosses, she's excellent. While she won't outdamage troops like the Flame Mage or Forest Scout, she survived much longer than many glass cannons, leading to more consistent damage throughout longer fights. And lastly, we have the Elvin Archer. She has the highest basic attack damage of any legendary troop. Her ability hits multiple targets, allowing her to fully take advantage of her incredible attack damage output. At level 6, she also applies a small defense reduction, good for boss fights. For newer players, she's one of the most important legendary troop to have. She has one of the longest attack ranges in the game, meaning she's often the last troop standing. With both high attack and respectable survivability, she's excellent at cleaning up battles after your front line falls. As you reach the late games, however, she's gradually replaced by stronger mythic range units. That doesn't mean she becomes useless. She's still a reliable damage dealer in boss fights, and her long range keeps her alive much longer than most troops. One final tip on her, even at level 6, the Elvin Archer still matches well versus the level 6 Mist Archer. As you may notice, I did not cover the Ashen Arcanist or the Blast Dwarf. That's because, in my opinion, neither troop offers enough long-term value. So with that, I'm going to wrap up the legendary tier, and next, we'll move on to the normal summon mythics. So if you found this guide helpful, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button so you won't miss the next one. Till next time.